Alvin, I've been watching more videos by that Pegasus guy in England, picking apart performers claiming to do live when they're either pre-recorded or lip syncing or
Okay.
processing their voice with pitch correction and auto tune. So he said the industry has now decided that a live performance means an actor is on stage moving around, but is no guarantee that any of the music is live.
Okay. And the industry is under what heading?
He didn't say who's authorizing that, but that's their defense, that they were up on the stage appearing to be alive.
Okay. Well, then I guess the next stage would be, well, what if it's a robot? In other words, not the real person, but another human being who looks like them.
Right.
Impersonator?
Impersonator, that's the right word. Would that be
An
okay?
impersonator, or what about a computer-generated avatar?
Yeah. Or can they be that good?
Not yet, but it's no reason why it won't get better.
What?
Who's in charge?
I am not.
Who's the leader? Who's our leader?
It's the group mind.
I don't have one.
Take me to your leader.
Well, open forum.
Okay. Under open forum, I want to add the fact that Ken Wacks will be joining us. He, as all of you know, attends every show, audio show. Every is the wrong word, but lots of audio shows. CEDIA, for example, CES. And he just got back from CEDIA in Japan.
No, in Japan was a standards meeting,
Sorry.
out of my business. CEDIA was in September in Denver.
He just got back in September from CEDIA in Denver. So he's going to give us information.
Well, the way it really worked is Alvin called me a few days ago and said, Alvin's going to tell us about his audio conference he attended in New York.
Right.
And then he said, but I need someone to fill out the time. I don't have enough. So the last few days I've been scurrying around putting together materials.
Okay, that's accurate, but Ken always does an excellent job. He was just afraid that he wouldn't be doing his usual excellent job. And I encouraged him that all he needs to do is do a little bit of what he usually does, and it'll be good enough. Something like that.
Yeah, my twisted arm is healing. Let's put it that way.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
I have something if nobody else does.
Go.
So YouTube is a great source for music. Anytime I have some obscure piece of music, I always look it up, and 95% of the time there's a performance posted on YouTube. And the sound is pretty good. But the problem is you turn off the volume, you're listening away, and then suddenly a commercial blares in.
Right.
So I decided to sign up for ad-free music. It's
For what? What's the name of it?
ad-free music on
YouTube has a premium subscription where you pay and they'll remove the commercials.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm subscribed to that as well.
And what's it cost?
It's $11
a
a month, and there's, well, no, we're talking about different things. They have different plans. This is music only, and it's
Okay.
$11 a month, and you get a 2-month free trial. Can't beat that.
And that
So I
kills
signed up for it.
commercials during YouTube. I thought you had to have YouTube Premium in order to kill commercials during YouTube.
during YouTube Music.
Okay. What I'm signed up for kills all YouTube commercials globally. $25. Well, I'm also on the family plan for $25.
That's something different.
Yeah, but similar.
So to kill all ads is $25, but to kill just
For a family plan.
for a family, and to kill music only, Dave, is $11.
Right.
Does it work?
Well, I just signed up today. I'll
Cool.
let you know.
Yeah, YouTube Premium. I'm looking at the pricing page now. YouTube Premium individual, $14 a month if you pay month by month, or $140 for a year if you pay at one time. And family plan is $23 per month if you pay per month. That's what I'm doing.
Does that
Right.
work?
That's different.
Chris,
That's different.
does that work, Chris?
Yeah, it kills all commercials in YouTube, and I get a lot of content from YouTube, so I can't abide the commercials.
Chris, does it kill commercials and music?
I believe it does, but I can't say for sure because I don't use YouTube as my source of music. I watch YouTube
And
videos.
when you say YouTube music, do you mean when the YouTube front page comes up and on the left it gives you a choice, including music and games? If you click on music, is that what you mean, David, by YouTube music?
I don't know what you're talking about.
When you
When
go
I
to youtube.com,
and
on the left there's a list.
I type in, say, Schubert, and I listen to a Schubert sonata.
Yeah, but you first go to YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And on the YouTube front page on the left,
Here,
there it is.
I don't use anything on the left.
It says YouTube music right there.
Okay.
is this similar to the interface you're talking about, David?
I don't know about anything about that.
So how did you get to YouTube, David?
I type in youtube.com.
Right. And you didn't get the page that Chris just showed?
Like if I type youtube.com, the page that I get doesn't have YouTube music in that list.
Oh no. I wonder if it's because I've paid for premium.
Might be.
No, it shows up on my
yours?
opening page.
Okay.
No, just go to YouTube regular, not premium. Or you have a cookie that's forcing that.
Yeah, I have a cookie because I'm logged in.
I went to YouTube and there's a menu on the left and almost at the bottom is YouTube music. So I imagine that's how I would get to
Yeah.
it.
So the question is, if you sign up for premium, does a premium apply to every category?
Good question.
Who's your question addressed to?
Whoever knows the answer.
Nobody knows yet.
So it's kind of, I had no idea ads were worth that much that I'm giving YouTube $15 in value a month by watching their ads.
Mm-hmm. Depending on how much you watch.
Good point. Good point.
Well, having an ad in the middle of music is intolerable.
Agreed.
Agreed. Yeah. Well, we all knew when YouTube started that eventually they were going to make us pay for it, and they're on that road. I even know that
That's fine. It's fine. I have
Google
no
Pay.
complaint.
Google Pay, which we all remember, you go to get apps for your phone or whatever. Most used to be free, but now they're starting to charge for some of those applications. I guess you can't blame that on Google, I don't think, but certainly the software writers for Google Pay or who submit their products to Google Pay
Yeah,
are
it's Google.
starting
It's
to
Google
charge.
Play, Play.
Play, you're right. It's
Yeah.
Google Play, Play.
Yeah.
So once they figure they got an audience, they jack up the attendance fee, let's say.
Yeah. There's actually a lawsuit going on where there's a possibility that one possible outcome could be that Google would get broken up, and that would mean YouTube would be a individual company, and it would be, it's a big question mark what the YouTube business model would, how it would change due to, as a result.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the YouTube video producers ask for donations, but they point out that if they accept the donation through YouTube, they lose up to 40% that goes for commission to YouTube. So
Wow.
they ask for a direct donation if the viewer can arrange that.
Is that right?
40%. Wow.
And how do you get because I just, you know, if I have to pay for something, I just pay for it. So you
Well,
say,
I'm talking about a producer of a
Content.
series of videos who's begging for money.
yeah, like I just downloaded audio tools and had to pay about $8 for that. So I just put it on my credit card. But that
Right.
just,
But you didn't get that through YouTube, did you?
yeah, well, I know I got it through Google Play.
That's different.
That's different. I see.
No, YouTube is, for some people, their sole source of income, and they produce travelogues or instructional videos, and they ask for donations.
Okay. Interestingly, I ordered a package from eBay recently, and it was delivered, and even the inside contents of the package was Amazon. What caused that?
Someone's bought it from Amazon and resold it to you.
Yep.
People find bargains that are like Black Friday bargains. They'll hoard them and then resell them later on.
So they brought it through from the supplier and sent it to.
No, they bought it on sale from who knows, from Amazon, and they're splitting the sale price with you. So they make a little money. So next time bread is on sale, buy up the whole store and then go around your neighborhood and sell it at a markup.
Okay. Yeah. Good
Speaking
idea.
of YouTube, are you guys familiar with Rick Beato?
No.
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 He's got a YouTube channel that's become very popular. He's interviewed a lot of high-profile musicians like Sting and Pat Metheny, Rick Rubin, the record producer.
Hmm.
He dissects music, analyzes it. He's I think he's got a pitch perfect ear. He's really good at analyzing music.
Huh.
Did you hear Alvin and I talking about Wings of Pegasus at the beginning of this meeting?
No.
Alvin and I discovered a YouTube producer in England. He's a guitarist. His first name is Phil. His website is called Wings of Pegasus, and he uses analytical tools to determine whether singers are authentic or whether they're lip syncing, or more, he thinks most egregiously, they're using pitch correction and auto-tuning. And he has found so-called live performances that are actually not live singing. And he's gotten threatened by singers for exposing them. One of the most popular recently was Celine Dion doing the closing of the Olympics.
Wow.
She was lip syncing to her own recording, which was auto-tuned.
Oh, wow.
And if you watch his site, he'll show you all the investigations he did, including getting someone's video they did when she rehearsed it the night before at 3 a.m. Could hear she wasn't in sync with herself.
Wow. I see on his channel, I see that he's done a bunch regarding the Eagles, and the Eagles are very litigious. So I'm sure
Yes.
that's among the artists that have gone after him.
Yeah.
This, in my opinion, I think judicious use of auto-tune and those technologies is just an effect. And I'll tell you that the more effects they use, and I'm talking about musical instruments as well as on voices, the longer the processing time is, the delay between what we would see looking at a performer and what we hear coming through all the effects and then through the sound system and all that stuff. Those are a fact of life.
Are you saying they don't match, Nick? But I thought that's the purpose. They sync it so it does match.
When you're attending a live performance, there's a singer on the stage that is singing or looks like he's singing, right?
Right.
And if he's singing, the voice is going through the microphone, a preamp, and then it goes through this effects chain, and then it comes out to the amps and the speakers. And there can be significant time delays in those effects chains.
But that's easy to correct.
It means delaying everything else to match. And then you have, if you do that, then the guitarist looks like he's out of sync.
Mhm.
Right? So like I said, judicious use of those things, not egregious examples like
Well,
shitters. Believe it or not.
What Phil at Wings of Pegasus pointed out is the singing can sound better without these tricks. He went back to very early recordings done by Barbara Streisand when she was a teenager and by Judy Garland. And he showed attempts to auto-tune them makes their sound kind of flat, that there is an advantage to having the singer do whatever tricks they do, including not exactly hitting the key at the frequency of, say, 440 hertz for an A.
I know, but I've personally I've heard some older singers that they need it. Sorry, they can't hold the tune anymore.
Well, then they shouldn't be singing.
They're going to be out there performing for a variety of reasons, not the most of which is singing, i.e., financial reasons,
Yeah, that's true.
maintaining a fan base.
Well, the good news is a friend of mine saw Tony Bennett a few months before he passed away, and he was as good as ever.
Yep, he was live. No tricks with that guy.
I have a different opinion. I saw Tony Bennett towards the end, and I thought he was weak.
He wasn't perfect, but it was natural and honest. I don't believe it was processed.
Yeah, absolutely, natural and honest. Yeah,
It was as good as he could do.
right.
Loved it.
You said weak, Chris. You mean you didn't enjoy it?
His voice was feeble. Not grossly feeble. I mean, it wasn't egregious, and it wasn't like, oh my God, let's leave. But it just didn't have the swagger that he's known for. That I felt.
I agree. When I saw him, I said, well, that's an old guy, but he's having a good time, so I'm going to have a good time and make allowances.
But I'm generally pretty forgiving of older performers because I'm just happy that they're still at it and still enjoying themselves. But when I saw Genesis on their finale tour, their goodbye tour, Phil Collins was a fraction of the man that he was back in the day, and his singing was really poor. And I just kept making it a reminiscent moment and trying to recall what he used to sound like, because it was not good, but it was a farewell tour. It was the last time to see a band that I loved, so I was forgiving.
Yep.
Speaking of live music, I need to, I wanted to share with you guys that I've been, some of us in the Connecticut Audio Society that own Apple AirPods Pro, the one that go in your ear canal that block off external sounds. We've been discussing how they're useful for hearing protection at concerts through a combination of the noise cancellation that they do and blocking the ear canal, but also using the built-in microphones that can feed external sounds into your ears, but at a reduced level. And it's really impressive how good they are at allowing you to hear a concert, a live show at a reasonable volume. But unlike earplugs, you hear pretty much a flat sound spectrum, unlike earplugs that roll off the highs, of course.
How much reduction can you get?
I'm not sure what the number is for reduction, but I think it's about 20. I know that they rate them. They say that you can use them safely. It shows up to 110 dBA.
If the show exceeds 110, then there's a problem?
Yeah, they wouldn't recommend that you use, and they'd recommend you use earplugs instead if it's 110 or more.
I use earplugs every time I fly. They're about minus 30 dB.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to get headaches on long flights, and I don't anymore.
Mm. Yeah, I've been using noise canceling headphones when flying for the last at least 20 years.
Mhm.
And I used to have big ones, and I still often do when I fly, but these are what I have in my ears right now is generation 1 of the Apple AirPods Pro. It's the generation 2 that's currently on the market that I also have a pair of.
Bose used to be the leader in that. I think they were the first company, but they were pretty huge units.
Yeah, and Bose does have in-ear buds now.
Did
too.
you get those in-ear custom to your pinna and ear canal?
I did not. There is a company that's doing that for these Apple AirPods Pro, but I haven't done it yet.
So they just fit you and they stay in okay.
Yeah, they come with different size tips. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There's the, I don't know if you can see.
Okay.
Are those the little balloon types? Or are those solid foam?
They're soft silicone.
I think you just have to try one and the other till you find one that matches your size.
Yeah. But actually the default size for these is actually good for me. But I do have to, the material that Apple uses is extremely smooth. So I do have to regularly pull up my ear and push the bud back in to stop them from falling out. So roughly every half hour, I'm just in the habit of pulling up and pushing in, depending on the circumstances. I use them mowing the lawn too, for example.
The other thing to be aware of, and I can tell you from using earplugs, is that you got to be careful of buildup of earwax, because the way the hearing system works is a very slow process that the earwax is flushing dirt and bugs out of your ear all the time. If you continually block it up with buds or earplugs, you're stopping the flow process and it can back up. And about 5 years ago, I got backed up so bad I had to go to Mass Eye and Ear and they had to excavate.
Yeah,
Took them 20 minutes, and at the end she said, "Boy, this was a big challenge."
Wow.
Yeah, I know it can be an issue for a lot of people. It depends on how much earwax your body naturally produces too. course, everybody's different in that regard. I seem to have low earwax production, but I also am.
No, I've needed a clean out maybe once every 10 or 20 years, so it's very slow. But just beware, you can't block your ear forever and expect no consequences.
Personally, I'm in the habit of using Q-tips daily.
That's not a good idea.
No.
That's
Better
a
to
horrible idea.
wash out your ear canal with hydrogen peroxide, something like that. You stick
Well,
something in, you can injure the delicate tissue.
I
But
haven't so
inserting-
far in 20 years, 20 plus years of doing it.
When inserting
And
Q-tips, stop when you meet resistance.
yeah. So, but I haven't had a problem with earwax with earbuds, but I know that some people do. But I think those are people that just aren't in the habit of cleaning their ears.
Am I the only one that worries about the radiation of those earbuds?
Oh, you mean from
It's
the
not an
radios
issue.
in them?
It's you can worry about cell phone signal transmissions. That's valid concern under some circumstances. That's why it's good to actually, because the signal to the cell phone tower is strong, and that's why it's good to have the phone away from your body and use earbuds. But the signals that come out of earbuds are extremely low level, and I don't think I've not heard of any.
IEEE did a study of cell phone radiation many years ago, maybe 20, 30 years ago, and they found that a cell phone held by your ear is putting half of the cell phone energy into your brain. They didn't draw any conclusions whether that's good or bad. They said, this is what our measurement shows. Your brain's absorbing half of the radio energy.
But that's all the more reason to use earbuds. Then you don't have to worry about it. You can just have the phone on your desk or in your pocket.
Or speakerphone on the.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Well,
But the other part of the ability of the Apple AirPods Pro, and I want to differentiate that they're the Pro. So Apple has the AirPods basic model that's around 150 that don't block your ear canal, don't offer any ambient noise reduction. I'm talking about the Pros that have a list price of 250, and they are in the canal, and they block ambient sound, and they're noise canceling, and they're designed to reduce loud ambient sounds like concerts. And now there's a feature coming in a future software release in the next month or so that it's going to have hearing aid functionality equivalent to over-the-counter hearing aid products that are on the market. And it starts with you doing a hearing test where tones are played in your ears, and you register with the app to what you're hearing, and it maps a curve of your listening, and they create a EQ curve to compensate for your hearing.
As I reported when I talked about the Consumer Electronics Show, the FDA is now allowing over-the-counter products to be labeled as hearing aids, not just amplifiers.
Right.
So there are many products like this that have some decent quality to them for hearing improvement.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is, once you've damaged your hearing, you're toast. It's not like eyeglasses that can bring you back to 2020. Nothing can bring you back to perfect hearing.
But the thing that the upside that could be really that could be the outcome of products like the AirPods Pro becoming more common, you might years from now see dozens of people, and the majority of the crowd perhaps, wearing them at concerts, and they're able to enjoy the sound and protect their hearing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted
Because
to
a
ask
lot of
about the
people
noise
refuse to
canceling.
wear earplugs because of the social, the way people respond to earplugs.
It's interesting. My nephews in their 40s now told me that, well, their father always had a supply of earplugs because he worked at GE jet engines. So they started wearing it to rock concerts, and they're having their kids do the same. So it appears to be getting a little more socially acceptable to have earplugs.
Chris, do your AirPods require a phone in their presence to work? And does it have to be an Apple iPhone?
I'm not specifically. Yes, they work with Android phones. I'm not sure how much of this functionality is available with Android phone, but I know that to get the full feature functionality, you do really need an Apple iPhone. I haven't tested using them away from the phone being in my personal radius.
Yep.
Because even when I mow the lawn, I have my phone in my pocket, and I'm using the AirPods Pro while mowing the lawn, and because I have a podcast or music playing from the phone, but they do work also with the Apple Watch, and you can go without the phone on your person and have audio play from the watch right to the headphones.
Well, I'm a little interested in them as a hearing protection device, but and I have an iPhone, but I just don't know, what's required. I don't have the latest iPhone. I've been using.
Yeah, you need to have the latest version of iOS that runs iPhones, which is just came out recently, iOS 18, and actually it needs to be 18.1. I think it is. That's not yet out. It's going to be out in the next couple weeks or months, and the functionality will be enabled by that update.
Oh,
I wanted to ask about the noise, noise canceling feature of the earbuds. Is the microphone right at the tip of the outward facing part? So there's only about
the microphone's outside of your ear canal.
so it's only about an inch or so between the microphone and the loudspeaker part of the earbuds?
Right.
Okay, so that should allow noise cancellation up to relatively high frequencies, which was a real defect of the earlier, the headphone style things that only canceled outside sound up to about 1 kilohertz or so. Do you have a sense of how high up these cancel outside sound?
I think it's full spectrum.
That would be remarkable.
It seems like full spectrum. Well, aside from the deepest bass, of course, it probably the effect probably rolls off. I'm guessing probably around 150 hertz. They probably start to drop it off to the. I'm sure they're not doing any noise cancellation at 20 hertz, for example.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I doubt it. That's a lot of movement of the ear the diaphragm.
That's where the energy is at a rock concert.
Yeah, but
low.
it takes a lot of energy to cancel that.
I know, but if you're going to do it, you have to do it.
They don't.
Yeah.
Rock concerts
I'm not saying there's zero
Yes,
cancellation
they
at
do.
20 hertz. I'm not even sure. I can't say definitively. I'm not speaking definitively, but I would imagine that the amount of cancellation that they're doing rolls off into the deepest space, and there's less cancellation happening.
Do the earbuds even go down to 20 hertz? I mean, can they reproduce that? So if they can't reproduce it, you wouldn't have to cancel it.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to. Let me see. I'm calling up the specs.
And I also think it would be tougher to cancel the higher frequencies because the circuitry would have to be working harder to compensate.
David, I go to concerts once or twice a month, and I carry a spectrum analyzer on my iPhone which is a moderately good analyzer. It goes down to 25 hertz, I think. And I see plenty of 30 hertz at concerts. It's going to depend on the band, and I mean at 105, 110 dB SPL.
Are these rock concerts or classical?
Rock.
Well, listen, go to a movie theater and see some of these movies. The last one I went to see, a friend of mine had his watch on, his Apple Watch, and it went off saying dangerous conditions for hearing. I said, go into your phone, see if it plots out a map. It actually reached 112 dB at some points, and it mapped the time frame of how long you were subjected to that sound pressure level. It was interesting. I went to complain, got 2 tickets out of it that I'll never use, but I was deafened afterwards. It's really bad.
I found Apple doesn't give the frequency response themselves, but this site called ratings.com.
That's a pretty good site.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great site. They measured the Apple AirPods Pro, and they do go down to 20 hertz.
Yep.
Is that, let's see, I can see. But is that taking, that's actually outputting that frequency response?
Yeah, that's their raw frequency response that they measured.
Okay. Interesting.
That's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I use Etymologics products, hearing protectors. I have the custom molded ones and the musician's friend, I think they call them, which have 20 dB of isolation, but they're not perfect. They're not really as flat as they think they are or claim they are. Maybe that's just for me or something. But I'm looking for a better solution. Maybe this is worth a shot.
Yeah, I just have to say, I think it's pretty incredible for $250 to have both a way to listen to music and podcasts and do phone calls hands free and have it be hearing protection, and now have it be a hearing aid as well. Early reports of people that have tried the beta software of the hearing aid function, they've said it's very good, but we won't hear from people that a large number of people until the software is public.
Right.
So you had mentioned that your Apple phone got updated to version 18. I just checked my phone and it just told me the latest version is 17.7. Do they have different versions for different models of phones?
Yeah, the OS is limited. If you have an older phone, it might not be able to take iOS 18. So my phone is actually not on 18 yet. I personally wait on software updates, big software updates when they come out before I install them. So I'm still on iOS 17 personally.
Yeah, this one said it was a security update, so I figured I'll do that one.
Yeah, the security updates I always do, but if it's a big jump like from 17 to 18, I wait until until they come out with the first revision of it, or I hear about I hear good things from people in my.
It reminds me of this that many years ago, maybe 15 years ago, I met an executive from Microsoft, and I said, "How come I find obvious bugs in your software?" He said, "Because we think our customers value features more than they care about bugs."
Uh-huh.
I have another open forum item. So Redbox has declared bankruptcy. Those are those big red boxes that sit by the grocery stores and supermarkets.
Redbox.
Yeah, they're 24,000 around, and it allows you to rent DVDs, movies
Okay.
for a few dollars.
Okay.
And I used it for a little while, and it worked fine, except the releases they offered weren't really of interest to me. And also the DVDs they provided did not have extra features. So they were different from the commercial release.
And they've declared bankruptcy?
Yes. And so now they're trying to figure out what to do with it. These machines weigh 890 pounds each, and each one may have several hundred DVDs in them. So it's kind of a disposal problem. Of course, it was streaming that did them in eventually, of course. And so anyway, that's the end of an era.
I believe those boxes are refrigerated also. So if somebody needs a good refrigerator, because a lot of them were placed outside the stores. Matter of fact, I think almost
Right.
all of them, and they got hot as heck, and the discs were warping at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, a few collectors have managed to buy them just to put in their house and use them for storing DVDs or something. It's out of nostalgia.
A coaster dispenser.
Wow.
Yeah, right. I mean, some are anchored in concrete just to keep people from stealing them.
You think my CVS would mind if I back up a truck to the
They might say, well, welcome. It's $50 for the scrap metal. Maybe they might welcome you. So anyway.
Okay, I'm wondering if we should get started. It's 45 minutes in open forum.
Yep.
Is it a good time or more open forum?
No, good time.
Okay. Or you were, I assume, observing. Anyway, I've always gone, not always, but when I go to AES show, I've always heard the complaints about the expense. That is from the dealers or the booth owners or whatever. And so this time I noticed that AES does publish booth costs, booth packages, and the kiosks. And a 10 by 10 booth, you see the first one on your left, is $3,900, which is not changed. That does not include rugs and does not include electrical outlets, doesn't include anything. So if you want to go up to at least respectable, we're talking about $7,800. And a 10 by 20 is a decent size. My living room upstairs is probably close to that dimension. But 10 by 10 is a little bit bigger than maybe most bathrooms. But then the package option, which you can sort of see displayed there, start at $6,000 and they go up to $13,200. And what's very popular, as we all know, are the AES kiosks. And those run around $3,250. So it is expensive, and don't know what we can do about that, but it is what it is.
What does the package include, Alvin? I mean, do you get electricity for the
You
package?
get electricity. You may or may not get rugs, other things. In other words, everything is priced, and you must buy from them. If you choose to go outside of their packages to buy something, they have to install it or know about it and blah, blah, blah.
Did you notice the fine print that says the prices do not include handling and drayage? Drayage means dragging it in from the shipping dock in onto the floor. You have to use their people. You can't just wheel it in yourself.
Especially in New York City because of union rules.
Yeah. So add on that labor cost to what you're seeing there.
Yeah, what would that cost about? Anybody know? The draggage. Don't know. But I know that was a problem at CES. I know it was expensive at CES.
Yeah, I always see people trying to carry stuff under their arm or put it on a little wheelie and sort of sneak in and out.
Okay. Signage, this sort of surprised me. Signage, of course, of like the blue and white sign you see for AES there on the right. And if you want escalator signage, that's something everybody sees who comes up the escalator. And you can walk up the stairs, but most people probably use the escalator. That's $20,000. And then they have a Crystal Palace banner, whatever that is. It was sold out. Anyway, as you can see, Crystal Palace banner can go up to $35,000. So it is expensive. One of the things I always enjoyed at CES, not CES, but AES, were some of the student performances or shows or stuff like that. And of course, they still have that. And it has a lot of appeal to students. There's a lot of young people running around AES. Here's our advertising stuff that AES puts out. Step into a world of audio innovation and inspiration at AES, New York. The flagship event of AES has an annual gathering of about 10,000 audio professionals and enthusiasts. It's a platform for collaboration, discovery, and learning. There is some debate if there was 10,000 people there. This, of course, was written well before the show opened. And my experience of going to mainly the exhibits, or even before was that the show was a lot smaller than it used to be. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So I don't know. What you see there is the schedule I set up. I didn't want to drive to New York, which most people don't. So I took the bus to the convention, and that was on a Thursday. And Saturday, I went out to visit a friend in Philadelphia, and I took the New Jersey Transit Authority station. That was only $16.90. And on Sunday, I flew back from Philadelphia to Boston. But NAB, like 2 years before, had the same showtime as AES, and that's why you saw their exhibit. Their exhibits are typically at least twice the size of AES. And what I decided to do this time was mainly a walking tour of the place. I held my phone camera horizontally or vertically, and just walked around the place and occasionally interviewing people. But it also gives you a sort of an ambience of how it looked like, how crowded it was or was not. And this technique I've noticed in travel films, they seem to use it a lot. I'm not sure how well it'll work, but this is what I tried.
Well, many of them use a gimbal to stabilize the camera they hold at the end of their arm.
True, but cell phones have gotten so good now that you really don't need gimbals. As you'll see, there's very little bounce in my walking. And the only issue that there is a lot that the gimbal wouldn't cure is I would occasionally drop the phone or ignore it. And for example, when I was talking to David Satch, which we'll see later on, I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. So gimbal wouldn't fix that. But most cell phones, I think, are good enough now to counter-correct the effects of walking.
Well, the gimbal helps keep the horizon level, so you're not tilting left and right.
So how much of the convention center did they actually fill? Did they push everything into one corner?
Stopped at these headphone booths because they are known for very good headphones, and they have a planar driver, which a lot of people credit for its good sound.
Alvin, did you turn on the audio in this video because we heard something at a very low level?
Yeah, you don't hear the audio?
No.
And we don't,
And
You
now
dropped
we're
out
having
quite a
trouble
bit,
hearing
too.
you.
So you have no trouble hearing me, but you have a hard
No,
time
we
hearing.
have trouble hearing you.
now you're okay.
Oh, really?
Now
Now
you're
you're
okay,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'll see. Is there a way to turn up the
No,
volume?
no, wait a minute. Before you start the video playing,
Mhm.
on the right, there's an option to play the audio. You got to click that. Absolutely, it's better right away. Okay.
Sorry.
Hi, what's the John Lennon Educational Bus Tour?
Yeah, so it's a non-profit mobile recording studio. So there's an entire studio set up on the inside there. We have 3 engineers who are there full time, and the bus tours around the U.S. talking to kids.
How's the sound now?
Fine.
Better?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Getting them into producing music, creating music, all for free.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't know that alcohol was available, but it obviously is. And I don't know if they would allow that in Boston, but anyway, it's there.
For 30 years now, we have been 30 different
One of the big things at the show was the term called immersion, which we were becoming more and more familiar with. And that's the concept that the sound is and the video are synced, and it's like 360 degrees around your head. That last slide part of Sony shows they have their own immersion kind of software, but everybody's getting into the immersion act, and how it's going to turn out, who knows? If we're going to wind up with multiple standards, or what's going to happen with the whole concept.
Premium subscriber accounts. And probably
Of course, that's David Sachs, and he was very good at taking questions from people who came up to his booth because he's knowledge of the industry and chefs. He stayed busy, So I'm sure he was exhausted at the end of it.
Entire festival, pretty much all the archival recordings we use one
And here are some of the major pattern pickups of not only the chef's microphones, but other ones, of course. And we can see on the left, or my left anyway, it's Omni, as opposed to the right, which is Bloomline, extreme right, and various patterns in between. And apparently the chef has a microphone with a mechanical switch that you can switch it from, let's say,
The right looks like rice ribbon microphone, figure of 8.
Say it again.
On the right hand side is a figure 8, which is a
Right.
ribbon microphone.
Right. Yeah. I just said Bloomline, but it's a ribbon. David, are you there?
I'm here. Yeah.
So
Is it really a ribbon mic?
No.
I mean,
I didn't think so.
characteristically ribbon.
It's a condenser figure of 8.
Yes. Single diaphragm.
which is what I thought it was. Yeah. Okay.
Bloomline is a stereo arrangement of two of those crossed at 90 degrees.
So Aaron and Miriam.
Chefs had a huge booth, as you can see, two parts of it actually. And here they were interviewing people, David, or
There's a YouTube. This is up on YouTube already. That's Dr. Hyun Cook Lee on the left, and a producer engineer whose name is Andrew Sheps, not related to the Sheps microphone company, and he spells it differently, but he is a longtime user of Sheps microphones. This must have been on the last day of the show because that's when they did all the filming.
it was the last day.
Yeah.
Now, given, for example, let's say the microphone in the upper left hand or the left side of the screen, what does something like that cost?
That is a $4,000 shotgun microphone with an embedded microprocessor and algorithms that some people call them beam forming. It makes the forward pattern of the microphone even narrower than usual. It uses a reverse-facing capsule and digital signal processing to basically subtract the sound energy that's coming from the side and rear and narrow the pattern further and also extend. I mean, shotgun microphones have a narrow pattern only above an upper mid-range frequency, depending on the length of the interference tube, the slotted tube. And what the digital signal processing does is to narrow the pattern all through the mid-range.
I see.
So it's a very specific, special purpose product. It's only used by film sound people for high-end productions, and there's some famous cases of film scenes that were filmed from some distance with this mic.
Okay. Well, if you're allowed to say, and you probably aren't, are the sales of super expensive microphones going up or down?
I just don't know. I think I'd be allowed to say it if I knew it, but I don't get into marketing. And it was like when people would ask me the prices of stuff, half the time I didn't know because, I don't work for the company. Okay. I was there as a volunteer walk-on.
Okay. Thank you.
I think generally it works out.
The other thing that always impressed me at AES was the number of women that were always present. It's probably as high as 30 to 40%, which I don't recall at CES shows, but AES, it seems to be a decent percentage of females.
Another brand.
Float really useful, or is it just a marketing gimmick? Let's talk about it.
Jennifer?
Hey, Julian Kraus here, and
I included this from our last presentation because there's some controversy about 32 bits, whether it's not it's even possible. So what I did, I borrowed a Zoom recorder from a friend of ours named Jim Dukas, and I plan on following the paradigm that David Sachs recommended to test it, and which is to, David, you want to repeat that?
I mean, it's just a straightforward dynamic range test. Find the maximum and then find the noise floor and see how far apart they are. But through the microphone inputs. And also, I'm not familiar with the recorder that you've got there. So remember, the whole controversy was about recorders that have no gain setting at all and that claim to be overload proof. And I was saying, if those two conditions are true, then I strongly believe that many people must be making recordings that are much noisier than they would have to be. But I myself haven't ever held a recorder in my hands that had no gain setting whatsoever for the microphone input. And I don't know whether that's a fact or a fiction that they exist.
Okay, well, I plan on testing this Zoom, and which is there's a photo of the Zoom camera, Zoom recorder right there. And here are the specifications, at least for the inputs. They're claiming that the input gain can go up to plus 75 dB.
Okay.
That's, as you recognize, much higher than your standard 16-bit and 24-bit unit.
That has nothing to do with the bit depth. That just has to do with the circuit arrangement in the front end. So
Okay.
those two subjects are completely unrelated. But the
Okay.
fact that you say it can go up to implies that there's some user control over the gain, which takes this out of the realm of the thing I was arguing about all this time.
Okay. Well, I'll certainly consult you before I do the test. Thank you.
there seems to be a bit of confusion regarding 32-bit float right now. You might ask yourself, why is 32-bit float coming up again when we already had it for years? What's the benefit anyways, and do you really need it? Straight up, I want to show you what's possible with 32-bit float that you simply cannot achieve with 24 or 16-bit audio formats. After that, I'll show you where this might come in handy, and also spoiler that in most cases you actually do not need 32-bit float for audio recording. But I'll get to that soon enough. Here I have a sine wave and I'm going to digitally amplify it so that the audio goes above 0 dBFS. Then I'll save it in 16-bit, 24-bit and 32-bit float. After that, I'll pull back down the audio again and you can...
What's that, David?
We saw all of this at the last meeting.
Yeah, skip it.
It's short.
see that in the 32-bit float format, all the signal is retained. You still have a nice sine wave. Compare this to 16 and 24-bit, where the audio is clipped and not recoverable. That's because...
Are these TAD speakers or?
These are aux speakers, but we do distribute TAD also.
Oh, I
we
see.
Don't have a pad here.
You don't have a pad here, okay.
Some pictures.
Yeah, Osberger, I know that. How you doing?
Systems.
Yeah. They hosted us at a meeting in Boston.
Yes.
Was you at the at AES Boston, right?
Yeah.
And then did you come to the quad party
Yeah.
as well? Okay. All right.
Okay.
I remember your face.
Yeah, I don't know much about that from because I'm a consumer audio guy.
Yeah.
So, but I do know these are good speakers from you guys' tour.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Yeah. Now, how long have you been with the company?
I've been with the company about 1.5 years now.
Okay.
I first started interning at certain NAMM events, AES events for Dave, and I'm an artist as well, back home in Boston, so that's how Dave knows of me. And I love music, so I came on with the company, you know, just learning, interning.
Okay. Did you talk when we were there?
I believe.
Yeah, because you look familiar.
Yeah.
And I think I remember the musician part.
Yeah. We was in the studio last night in Penthouse playing music and kind of, you know, talking and building with everybody.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been with them for 1.5 years, learning about pro side, hi-fi side, how to make the speakers. I'm in the warehouse, kind of 6-man type of thing, everywhere, kind of.
And what's your name?
Colloginal.
Yep. From Boston,
Yep,
right?
from Boston.
I decided to put in a snippet of his performance.
And artist-wise, C4, SEEFOUR. So you can find me on any socials, any platforms.
I love it.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, Boston, Spirit, you know what it is, Spirit. Yeah, you know, I was told all my lifetime, you know, birds of a feather flock together, let's get flying. If checks is coming in, see the buildings, let's go buy them. I'm tired of people talking, but I'm steady feeling violence. Lions stay defiant, they excited off and down.
Oh, sound devices, huh?
No, sound devices.
Oh, okay. This is
Austrian audio.
Austrian. Okay, makes sense. You're sitting at the booth. I know sound devices. So you do headphones, man.
And microphones.
Oh, and microphones.
Too much of the room there, the direct signal, but on the mid-height room, so it's really started just really working well together and running at the same time. So it's been very cool.
I was three. I was three.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you see any other
Name?
Nina.
And you work for?
I work for B&H.
Now, the video audio industry is in a little bit in disarray, right or wrong.
We're feeling positive.
How's B&H doing?
We're doing well. We're happy to be here and excited to speak to all these wonderful people about audio.
Are you in audio personally or video?
No, I work in our marketing department. I actually work in our EDU department, so I'm here to speak with all the students and tell them about our discount program.
Love it. And your name?
Ivan.
Ivan. I've always enjoyed PSI products.
Great.
Your speakers are outstanding. And what about the software you have over there?
Thank you very much. We have no software in the monitors, but the software you're seeing here.
Right.
The software is only to display what's happening into the box of the active bass trap demo.
Oh, they're not, you don't sell that?
No.
Okay.
It's only a tool.
Right, only a tool, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Switzerland. Are you from Switzerland?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am.
Right.
The French part of Switzerland.
Okay,
you know that
I know
we have several
multi-language,
parts.
yeah, right. I'm aware of that. And so you have a bass module down there?
Yeah, the active bass trap. We're the only one to do it in the world. That's unique. That's unique. That's patented, and that's really a great product.
And what's it called again?
The active bass trap.
And your name again?
AVAA.
Okay. Now this microphone, what's it called?
It's the BP3600, BP3600.
And what's your name?
Barry.
Barry, what do you hope to gain with all those microphones?
Well, this actually creates a really good immersive sound. It's used a lot in sports broadcasts to kind of capture the immersive sound field of wherever it's placed.
So how many inputs? Is it stereo or 8?
Eight capsules with 8 discrete outputs.
Does it come with software?
No, so this is kind of incumbent upon whoever's utilizing the recording to figure out how they want to place this in the mix. But it really translates nice to an 8-speaker setup where you have 4 top speakers and then 4 surround speakers.
Oh, ceiling speakers, you say top speakers? So how much does the BP 3600 cost?
I don't know, $5,140.
That's all? Okay.
Yeah, it's a value at any price.
I love it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'm a Boston Audio Society editor.
Okay.
We write magazine articles about. Now, what is your name?
So my name is Bill Curtis, and I'm with Curtis Design Technologies.
Okay.
Okay. The product over here that we're showing is the AL2 stereo microphone system. It's a matched pair of tube condenser microphones, and you get this whole package with the cases, and you get this rack mount power supply. It's unique to these mics, and it comes with Canard cable. So this is one package. That's one product.
So you say they're tube amplifiers, but
they're tube condenser microphones. So there's a vacuum tube inside each one of these. We manufacture our own unique capsule. It was designed from the ground up. It's not a copy of any other traditional.
What size is it?
It's 22 centimeter of exposed diaphragm.
So that's almost 1 inch.
Yeah, it's a little bit over 1 inch of exposed material. And so that was our flagship introductory product, and that's applicable to a general purpose instrument recording microphone on drum overheads, pianos, acoustic guitar, vocals, combos.
What's the cost?
The cost is the list price is $4,495
with the 2 microphones.
Yeah, for this whole setup.
Okay. Are those Omni capsules or
cardioid?
They're both cardioid.
Right. And you can listen to it at some point, if you want to pop these headphones on.
Okay.
And then, I don't know if you want to show this, but this is our other. And this here is our 2-channel microphone preamp that we're showing. It's a discrete Class A. It's got the step 24 position.
Okay.
Gain. It's got backlit buttons and things like that. For the phase and the phantom and the pad. So it's very easy, simple to use, easy to see from a distance.
And what do you claim using tubes as opposed to transistors?
Well, here we are. In this case, we are using transistors. This is solid state.
I mean, with the microphone.
We're getting kind of a musicality, It's an overall musicality.
How about signal to noise?
I can't give you a serious numerical thing, but it's dead quiet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quiet.
In their arms. I labor by signal.
Did he say 20 centimeters?
Again, what's your name?
Hi, my name is David.
And you're with
I'm with Eventide.
Eventide,
Yes,
love
sir.
it.
Alvin, it's nice to meet you.
Alvin, yeah. And the modules?
Modules here, yes sir. We've got our brand new H90 Dark. It's coming out October 24th. Be on the lookout for this. We're showcasing that today. And this is basically a different color version of the H90. Over here, come over here. Let me show you this. Look at this. Got the H90 here.
Yeah.
This gentleman is using. So we've got the H90 that comes with 64 algorithms.
64 algorithms.
That's right, that you can run in parallel of serial. And we're showcasing that. We've also got the Ultra Tap pedal and the new Riptide pedal right here. And this is new from the .9 series. And then back over here, we've got
I love it.
Talking about the .9. Talking about the .9, we've got more .9 pedals, the Black Hole, Micro Pinch, Tricera Chorus.
Okay, I see you're talking about immersive sound. So some of them
immersive plugins. We've got new immersive plugins and called Black Hole Immersive and Micro Pitch Immersive. And they're not good for your back, but they're great for immersive and Dolby Atmos mixing. Those are over here. You go this way. We've got that up right now. We've got it up right now. And that's right here.
Oh, okay.
This is the Micro Pitch immersive plugin. One of the two immersive plugins of Eventide.
Okay.
What it is, it's the Micro Pitch effect.
It's our word to get immersive audio.
But in Dolby Atmos.
The system is capable of steering the sound to the audience. You need any loudspeaker or their loudspeaker?
This is what our speakers do. That's what we have.
Oh, so you need the same loudspeakers and software.
The sound. 10,000 guitars wait.
For this demonstration, they had me stand in front of the loudspeaker, or what you see there. And as I stood there, they moved the sound to my left and then to my right. And not mechanically, they claimed they were doing the steering with software.
Russet brandy in a diamond glass.
And what am I listening to?
This is Burhana. He's a R&B artist from Atlanta. This is in 360 reality audio. It's Sony's immersive audio format.
And those dots on the screen represent?
Audio objects.
These come out.
Audio
objects.
How much are they? 289. Huh? 289.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov.
It's right here. After the show on Thursday, I went to dinner with Leslie Williams on the left, then myself, then that's Bob Carver, of course, and then that's his wife. So we're at a restaurant in Brooklyn. And for an upcoming event, we'll be having Tom Parazzella, because after the show, and I went over to Tom Parazola's house outside of Philadelphia. And let me go back a little bit and get to see his system, which he'll talk about in the AES presentation. That's the speakers announcement. As you can see, I included a little applause there. But also there's some question, and we don't know, if AES will be its last show in New York City for the convention.
Why do they need to use the Javits Center with only 10,000?
I don't know. But rumor has it, no one knows for sure, this may be the last one ever in New York, and they'll just have the California one for AES in the future. But your point is, the Javits is expensive?
I mean, I went to a show there that drew more than 60,000, and it fit in.
You don't know. Okay. Okay, that's it for AES. Question: did the walk around tour work well, or was it okay? Or
I thought it was
in the gimbal.
The gimbal would have made it better, yeah.
And it'd be nice to have a cameraman and then you interview everybody.
Right. Work even better, yeah.
That way you can concentrate on your discussions with everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did have a question for Alvin, though. Seeing as though I disrupted things, may I jump back in? This
Go
is
ahead.
Nick. This is Nick. So I enjoyed your walk around tour. The one thing I wish, because I was flipping through the program also, is where were all these wonderful talks that were going on? Was there separate halls or a separate hall? And so there's just a lot of amazing things I wish I could have said in a lecture hall format, I'm assuming.
Most meeting places have meeting rooms that hold maybe 50 to 100, and could have a dozen of them off to the side of the hall.
The Javits, they use the downstairs level. It's basically one tall floor below where the exhibits are, but it takes a higher cost badge to attend those. So like most people who were at the show had an exhibits only badge that didn't enable them to get into the presentations and lectures.
It's the same thing at the Consumer Electronics Show. You have to pay quite a bit of money to go to the literally hundreds of presentations and panel discussions that go on simultaneously.
So I also noticed in the program there was multiple talks mentioning AI and the various uses of AI. And did you see that, Alvin, as you were walking around the floor? Were people talking about incorporating AI? For example, it says for audio content creation, for example, in one of the talks.
It's very hard to see it in action during the exhibit show. However, I think every booth pretty much claimed AI. So beyond that, I couldn't answer that.
As I said in my article I wrote for the speaker on Consumer Electronics Show, anyone who had a half clever algorithm claimed it was artificial intelligence.
Correct. However, there are some really nice workshops which do take place at AES, which was the main reason I used to go. I rarely attended the exhibit portion. I enjoyed the discussions on loudspeakers, distortion, dispersion, and all those other kind of things, including recording demonstrations that took place, but not at the exhibits. Exhibits is only dealers or manufacturers who, should we say, want to sell you something. But that's a lot less than it used to be. And the focus has changed for the talks downstairs.
Well, I was glad to see the tour because as a person who was working at the booth the whole time, I never got to tour anything.
How long were the hours? Were you there the whole time, David?
Yes, I was. Started at 10 a.m. and went to 6, except on the last day it closed at 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I manned a booth at a convention once 20 years ago and was exhausted at the end of the day and had to rely on everybody around me for reports of what was out there in the world because all I saw was the show from the kiosk.
From the microphone manufacturer's perspective, a number of the big names were just not there.
Right. That's true. That's
Neumann, for example, was not there. AKG was not there.
That's correct.
Wow.
Right. Sennheiser was not there. Of course, they own Neumann now.
That's something about AKG because they've got Samsung's money behind them now.
Well, then that was bought out. I think they were acquired by Harman.
Yeah, and Harman is owned by Samsung now.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But, okay, I don't want to say rumors that are being spread inside the industry are still rumors, even though it's professionals that are saying them. So I don't want to spread information here that I can't verify independently. But you will notice that there was a booth there that you bumped into next to Sound Devices called Austrian Audio.
Correct.
And the claim of that company is that it was started by engineers who left AKG when it was acquired.
Oh.
Okay. And as far as I know, that's perfectly true. However, those people, as far as I know, had not been with AKG very long either. And AKG underwent an enormous turnover, as did a couple of other companies, Bayer, for example, where the engineers and the people who basically knew how the older products were designed and built were no longer in the company. AKG in particular, okay, like they started making condenser mics in the mid 1950s, early to mid 1950s, and they had a fantastic success with one particular microphone called the C12, and then it was a stereo version called the C24. Later on, they introduced lots of microphones that they claimed had the same capsule, but it was in fact a re-engineering. It was like a reverse engineering of their original capsule, since there was nobody in the company anymore who had been involved in making or designing the original one. And I really don't know of any engineers who think that the newer capsules sound like the old ones.
Okay.
So again, AKG, you know, it's a rocky history with their microphones, with their top grade condenser microphones. I mean, a lot of their stuff. I mean, nothing's made in Vienna for them anymore. It's all made in the Far East.
So Alvin, can I go back to the immersive sound again? Because it sounds to me like you create immersive sound via processing the sound. I'm naive about all this, but that is kind of runs opposite to what I would say most audio files
there's
maybe
two
less
ways
processing.
There's two ways to do it. You saw in one of the videos that spherical microphone array that can actually capture audio spherically in all directions for listening in an immersive way. But most sound that you hear via Dolby Atmos is fabricated, and sound is put throughout the sound space by synthetic placement using software.
That's what those audio objects were, Alvin,
yes.
that he was showing you.
Right.
Yeah.
The Sony demonstration, for example.
Yeah.
So when you're doing spatial audio, there's bass channels that are, for example, with a mixing for speakers, that you'd have usually a bass channels of 5 channels. And when you want to move a sound out, anything that's not part of the sound, the main speaker sound spectrum, that you want to move around or be in a space in the sonic space where there is not a speaker, you place it as a sound object, and you have joysticks, even some like mixing consoles that do spatial mixing have an actual joystick that you can place the sound. But usually in software, you're pulling panning faders or panning sliders to place objects in space.
Does that make sense, Nick?
Well,
It makes sense, but I'm just saying, am I ever going to experience immersive sound in my living room? Would I want to experience immersive sound in my living room? Would it be any better than what Alvin's got in his living room right now? I'm just curious, is this, well, you said the show is about selling product. Is this a new way to sell product, or is this actually a significant increase in sound quality?
The immersive sound is, you have to experience it. I've only experienced it really well with headphones. And so if you're in the headphones, it's probably that market will grow. If you want to experience it over stereo loudspeakers, you won't be able to, period.
This has been a conversation since the days of quad, and not everybody, a lot of people shunned quad, and understandably, because there was a lot of gee whiz things that were done with the mixing. So this has been going on for years, and a lot of people don't care for anything beyond what two speakers can achieve, and I can appreciate that. But myself personally, I've always been a big fan of music and surround, and especially now with immersive sound and spatial audio, and it sounds pretty great what can be done. And I think it's here to stay this time, as opposed to coming and going throughout the years. I think it's here to stay because of the ubiquity of Dolby Atmos, and how many devices support playback of Atmos.
A lot of this is for cinema sound and not just home sound.
Yeah.
Also, just to point out that in Western and Central Europe, major sports events and other public events broadcasting is routinely done in surround, and the people, the home television viewers, there's a fair number of them that have surround setups in their homes. The United States is behind in that respect, if you consider that progress. I'm doubtful personally, but I'm just saying it's normal in Central and Western Europe for basically people like us to have surround setups attached to their TV sets.
And you don't even need, if you're comfortable listening on headphones, you don't even need a full-on setup with processors and speakers and amps. All the Apple headphones support spatial audio now, and the higher you go up the line, the better they do in rendering spatial music and spatial audio.
Are you talking about derived spatial, or when you have multiple sources and you place them in the proper channels?
Either one.
Yeah.
The Apple headphones do upmixing. If they get fed as a stereo signal or even a surround signal, they do upmixing to spatial. But if the best result is when they get fed a spatial signal like Dolby Atmos.
Apple TV Plus does a great job with that spatial audio. When I listen at home, it's very immersive and it sounds natural. They do a good job in their mixing.
How many speakers are you listening to, John?
7 speakers.
Around the room, or?
It's it's not the greatest setup. The room is a fairly small room, but there's and I only have 2 rears, left, center, right, and 2 height presents in the front. So I don't have it set up as overhead, because when you have overhead speakers and they are set up properly, and the films that are made and mixed properly, it is amazing. I mean, to hear something truly fly over that was discreetly mixed rather than derived. So the circuitry in my particular Yamaha is they have a surround AI, and it will take anything and derive an overhead signal a rare signal, but it sounds a lot better when it's, again, discrete.
But you don't even need that, and that's awesome. And I do have a full speaker setup too, but I just wanted to make the point that you can just with like an Apple TV device that's a streaming content player that plugs into your TV, the sound output out of that you can feed right into a set of Apple headphones wirelessly and get Dolby Atmos and get 360 spherical sound.
I've never heard, I can't imagine how you get 360 surround out of headphones. I've never heard it. Someone tried to show it to me before and I just did not hear it. It went right over my head, so to speak, but I should say it didn't go over my head.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how that can happen. I know you play with phase and everything, but I just couldn't hear it compared to a system with discrete speakers in a room. But maybe someone will show me sometime.
I'm wondering if we should get started with Ken because it's already after 3:30.
Oh.
So Ken Wacks, you want to go with CEDIA?
Sure. So, CEDIA was held September 5th to 7th in Denver at the Convention Center. It was actually a combined show called CEDIA Expo 2024 and Commercial Integrator Expo 2024. The audience are system integrators who do custom designs. Those are the members of CEDIA, the Custom Electronic Design and Installation Association. These are people who typically do home theaters for the rich and famous. The theaters can cost $50,000 to $5 million and up, depending upon the needs of the client. And for the real top tier client, they do extensive interviews with the client and with their families to find out how they'd like to experience entertainment at home. About 15,200 attended the combined expo. This was slightly down from last year. The attendance then was 15,541. So it was down by around 300. And they estimate that 5,000 of the 15,200 who attended were there for the first time. The show included 400 exhibitors. 90 exhibitors were there for the first time, as compared with 340 exhibitors in 2023. There is a growing trend among the attendees who now serve both residential and commercial customers. The major technology trend was micro LED televisions, where the television was large enough to cover an entire wall. There were about a dozen companies competing with micro LEDs, large size televisions, and projector televisions. Audio was predominantly multi-channel for whole house audio and home theater surround sound. When I spoke to some of the audio companies and asked them about audiophile quality sound, many said they focus on whole home audio and home theaters, not on the, quote, two-channel stereo market. And many admitted they produce good sound, but not audiophile quality sound. In other words, they felt a little intimidated, I think, when I said I'm with the Boston Audio Society. They thought I would be holding them into maybe too high a standard that they couldn't achieve. So I assembled a list of about a dozen audio video companies of potential interest to us at the Boston Audio Society. I discussed this with Alvin and reviewed the list. And we boiled it down to about 6 companies where we extended invitations to them through email, inviting them to speak. A couple of the companies have expressed interest and may accept our invitations. I guess both Alvin and I are a little surprised, just name dropping Boston Audio Society, that didn't get them all flocking to our meetings and begging to be speakers. We have to do a little persuasion, I guess. So I'd like to give you an introduction to some of the companies that we invited to speak. Plus, I threw in a few of the more eye-catching exhibits. So first up is ATI Amp. ATI makes heavy-duty amplifiers. They're built in Los Angeles. They emphasize high-quality power transformers. And to quote them, for the transformers core, we use MOH with magnetic properties that increase efficiency 18% over conventional units. Each amplifier channel gets not only its own set of transformer windings, but its own rectifier and storage capacitors, thus giving each channel its own separate power supply. Other hardware features include large heat sinks, a circuit board made from fiberglass reinforced epoxy laminate, gold-plated RCA jacks and robust XLR connectors with gold contacts, and fast optically coupled protection circuits that are removed from the signal path so they don't affect the sound quality. The company makes class A/B and D amplifiers, distribution amps, and something they call Pure Balance. To quote them, Pure Balance incorporates substantial power supplies to ensure maximum power to all channels as listening and cinematic sound demands are placed upon the amplifier. So let's learn a little about this company.
Hello, I'm Stephen Brunner from Amplifier Technologies, located in Southern California, in the greater LA area. We're here at the CEDIA Expo 2024, where we are showing our new AT3313 multi-channel amplifier, which is 330 watts Class AB on the front 3 channels and 165 watts per channel on the subsidiary 10 channels. Extremely high power, all Class AB, differential balance topology, and shipping in Q4 this year. For more information, check out our website, www.ati-amp.com. Thank you very much.
Next up is Hi-Fi Vibe, also known as Hi-Fi Wellness. This company claims that they use sound to create vibrations for vibrational medicine. Quote, from remediating a long-term affliction with gout to colon and prostate cancer and even onset diabetes. Quote, the health benefits of vibrosensory stimulation, that's VSS, are starting to be recognized by the general population. Studies over the last couple of decades have shown that specific frequencies can be supplied in a tactile format that has very profound effects on various human maladies. In the following clinical trial, it's been discovered that VSS can reverse the uniformly accepted understanding that we lose muscle mass as we age. This is due to an unusually more sedentary lifestyle as we begin to experience the side effects of growing old, less energy, muscle stiffness, arthritic pains, and so on. Now, us baby boomers have a new technology to play with that might possibly reverse a number of physical health issues normally associated with growing older.
Hi, I'm Thomas Clark Benner with Hi-Fi Vibe, and this is my friend Paul Balin, and we're here to demonstrate high-fidelity vibratory stimulation, or I sometimes call it sensory stimulation devices or drivers. And the way that what we mean by a driver is something that is attached. In this case, a driver can be a speaker, but in this case we actually have a magnet attached to this device. It's vibrating, but I can take the can take the magnet off of here, and you're releasing some sound, but not that much. And then I put the magnet back on, and then I can attach it right here to the chair. And now I'm imparting the physical sensation of this music right into the chair at a low sound pressure level. So I can create a physical sensation for things like speeders in Star Wars at a low sound pressure level, something you can't produce with 20 or 100 speakers or with your big subwoofers. And also the issue is with the subwoofers is they can actually cause a hearing loss. And so what we promote here is that we're actually exciting 5 different sensory inputs. So we have tactile, which is your fingertips and your toes and that kind of thing, and your backside. We have haptic, which is like the explosive things, like hitting a pothole. So you have haptic drivers out there. We don't really recommend those, like the butt kicker. I don't know if I can say other names. Then we have the kinesthetic. So we're exciting the entire body when we lay in this chair. So we're exciting every nerve ending and every cell in the body with this specific true sine wave, which sine wave is very important because in a lot of other devices we use a square wave, which the body does not recognize as being a natural sensation. So you can see up here, that is what, when we throw a pebble in the water, we get this ripple effect. And that's what true sine wave really looks like, and that's what we're actually recreating in the chair here. So the next one we go to is bone conduction. So bone conduction, because we're stimulating the actual inner part of the ear with this vibratory information, we can actually overcome a hearing loss that you might have gotten from listening to all this loud music for so many years. And then we do get some audio that's produced by that, but we typically keep that down so we can augment the background with different audio devices that are more efficient than the furniture at creating a good sound experience. We have over 50 massage therapists that use this in their practice, and the reason for that is because I can induce very specific frequencies to do muscle relaxation, pain reduction, increase bone and muscle mass, reduce hypertension, NASA frequencies to increase the bone and muscle mass, and also frequencies that help to augment the 40 hertz that is shown to help with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So this is a very healthy effect. It's very entertaining, and we're saving people's hearing but giving them actually a heightened experience. And again, I'm Thomas Clark Fenner, and I've been doing this since built the first prototype in 1978. So what you're getting is the latest in that technology in a 3D printed rare earth magnetically driven device that we'd love for you to hear about more. And if you go to either hifivibe.com or hifywellness.com, you can find all my information there. I have all the clinical trials and everything else to back up all my claims that I'm making about the vibratory effect, and would love to have you check it out. Thank you.
Next up is Indie Audio Labs, the maker of Acurus and Aragon brands. The company offers high-performance immersive processors, preamps, and power amplifiers for home theaters, media room, and 2-channel listening. Products feature, quote, extreme performance, authentic sound, and intuitive operation. Acurus, that's ACURUS, is the premium brand for immersive home cinemas and media rooms. Aragon, ARAGON, is, quote, the titanium and iridium amplifiers and tungsten preamp form the foundation of Aragon's Elements collection, a distinctive group of products that focuses squarely on world-class 2-channel listening in home and professional environments alike.
Hi, welcome to CEDIA Expo 2024 in Sound Room 9. We are the Acurus and Aragon team. I'm Rick Santiago, CEO, co-founder. I've got Ted Moore, CTO, co-founder, and I got Rick Henthorn, who's our VP of Sales, and we're happy to be able to present to you guys some amazing demos this year. We've got a combination of an Acurus theater, which is a full theater that shows off our Act 4 20-channel processor and all of its unique capabilities with 22,000 watts of power in the room to really just knock your socks off. So I hope you get to see it, and if not, I hope you hear a lot about it and read about it, because it's going to be one of the top demos of the show. In addition to that, we've got a 2-channel setup here that's just incredible. This is not something you see at CEDIA typically, but we've got the Dynaudio Confidence speakers driven by none other than our new tungsten preamplifier. It's a high-end preamplifier that is just a Swiss Army knife of capabilities that don't really exist anywhere else in the 2-channel world. Plus, we've got Aragon monoblocks that deliver the purest sound that you're going to hear in a 2-channel system. So all of that tuned by Aspect and some new low-frequency features that Aspect is offering. We've just got a lot to show, and we're excited about it for this year.
Okay, so for CEDIA 2024, we brought out 2 systems. A 9.10.6 home theater based around our Act 4 processor at the heart of it. 4 M8 amplifiers, each running with every channel bridge to give nearly 4-digit power to every speaker in the configuration. We have our overheads getting that power, our 9 bed channels, all of it. We're also running 10 subwoofers, each with 4 9.5-inch drivers. And this is the first time we're showing off our technology to make bass perfectly even in every spot in this room. We have 3 rows, and there's going to be some clips we play where somebody can move from seat to seat, and you're going to get the same bass performance regardless of what row you're in. For 2-channel, we have our tungsten stereo preamp, and we're using its DAC, and for a source, we're feeding that from this X1 streamer. We like using our DAC because of the excellent tonality. It's not sharp, it's not dry, it's just right. And we have our Iridium monoblocks, 240 volt per microsecond slew rate, the fastest that we know of, the fastest I've been able to find. We also are utilizing that with some Dynaudio Confidence 60 speakers for a completely separate 2-channel demonstration.
My name is Ted Moore. I'm one of the co-founders and the CTO of Indie Audio Labs. Been doing, running this company for about 15 years. And we brought out some really fantastic products. One of the things that we really are proud about is the fact that our products are uniquely designed by us. So that includes everything from the industrial design to the custom boards, and of course the software and the tremendous UI that we have in our products. We started the company, we wanted to bring audio products that were made in the US to our exacting standards, which meant that audio was sort of the sacrosanct primary goal. So that's always the beginning of any design project, is that we have to make sure that that part of it is just absolutely constrained and worshipped and never messed with in terms of design compromises down the road. And then from there, you want to make sure that you have the interface to whomever is enjoying the equipment. And that's not just only the software UI, but also the industrial design. We want our stuff to evoke an emotion when people look at it, and then of course when they hear it as well, but also when they use it, when they have to actually engage with the product in terms of control. And the facet of that that's important to me in particular is making sure that our products meet these kinds of design specifications from the get-go and maintain that in terms of manufacturing and supply chain. So that's kind of the critical thing for me and my watchdog in terms of the companies, to make sure that we maintain that level of, that extremely high level of user expectation and satisfaction. We have a network of qualified dealers and installers globally, really. Primarily we sell through distributors internationally. So we do a vetting procedure for each dealer or distributor potential, just to make sure that our products are going to marry well with the other products that they carry, like in terms of speakers and so forth. And then we just work with those customers to make sure that we understand what their customer needs are, the homeowner, what their expectations are. Because every installer, even around the world, is going to have a different style and approach to how they build their customers' audio setup, whether that's a 2-channel system or a full-blown theater. So we engage with them pretty closely to make sure that our product is going to fit well with what they want to accomplish.
My name is Rick Santiago. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Indie Audio Labs, Acurus, and Aragon brands. I wanted to tell you a little bit about Aspect.
I can move on. I've got more to show, and I realize
You're
this is a pretty
installing
long
one
clip.
of our processors in a home theater environment.
Yeah,
or
move
even
on.
with our new tungsten
Okay.
2-channel preamp to adapt.
Next up is Alchemia Design. It's a high-fashion marble wall that transforms into a user interface control panel and a television. To quote the company, Alchemia are unique and transformative elements of design created for luxury homes. They're crafted from natural and noble materials and invisibly integrate technology for entertainment and relaxation. It features a one-sided or double-sided wall that can range from 8 feet by 11.5 up to 8 feet by 15 feet. It can display a television up to 100 inches on the wall. The panels are composed of natural stone or wood, and the control panel would be on the side of the wall panel. The Alchemia control element can be combined with audio.
My name is Jeroen van den Hurk. I'm the CEO of Alchemia, and here we are at the CEDIA Expo in the US in Denver 2024. So I'm to present our product line Invisible Technology under the name of Alchemia. And over here you see an invisible display that really blends into the background of the material that it is surrounded with. In this case, it's natural stone or ceramics. And when the TV has been switched off, you will not detect the TV at all anymore. So this is really the beginning of the end for the black plates that you always have hanging in the living spaces. In addition to that, we also offer invisible loudspeaker on the right hand side of me. And as you can see, there are no mesh fronts anymore. We completely integrate the sound in the material, and we can do that with natural stone, with ceramics, and with wood. So you can find more information about these products at our website, www.alchemia-elements.com.
Next up is Russ Sound. It was founded in 1967 in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and was purchased by Maureen Baldwin in 1987. The company claims they offer high-quality audio products focused on sonic fidelity, reliability, and ease of use. They make indoor and outdoor speakers, amps, connectors, infrared controls, and wall plates. At CEDIA, they displayed an upscale soundbar as their latest product.
Hi, this is Colin here at CEDIA 2024 in Denver. I'm here to show you Russ Sound's first soundbar, the Cinema Bar 3.0. We're very excited here at Russ Sound to be offering this. Again, it's our first soundbar. It's a passive 3-channel soundbar made of heavy-duty MDF. There's a separated, isolated audio space for each of the 3 channels, for the left, for the center, and for the right. You're going to love the sound you get out of the soundbar. It's got 4-inch drivers and a passive radiator for each channel. So a 4-inch driver and a passive radiator, 4-inch driver and a passive radiator. That lets the sound go down to 70 hertz, which is very impressive for a low-profile soundbar like this. The thing installers like the most about it is the tapered edge on the sides. So this, when you mount it to a TV mount, it allows you to fully pivot that TV without the soundbar hitting the wall. So the first obstruction you hit when you're rotating a TV will never be the Russ Sound soundbar. So you're going to love the sound from this, super installable. And the great thing about it is it pairs with our AVA 3.1 amplifier. Check out the AVA 3.1 in its own video, and you'll learn all about it. But it's a great pairing for $499 retail for the soundbar, $399 for the amplifier. Gives you an $899 retail combo for a really powerful soundbar package you and your customers are going to love.
check out our website at rusteon.com for more info, and we appreciate you stopping by the show.
The principal from Russ Sound I spoke to was a veteran at the company, and he remembers listening to Shop Talk and WBUR. So we're hoping to get him to be a featured speaker. Next up is the new line of micro LED TVs, this time by Ventana Design. Now, this is the next generation of televisions composed and televisions we look at now are mostly LCD, where there is a bright light that is being filtered by the tiny little pixel-sized elements that compose the liquid crystal display. So basically, the white light behind the screen is being filtered and colored as it reaches your eye. Micro LEDs, on the other hand, create an array of red, green, blue LEDs extremely closely packed to create the image. This is already being used in billboards, places like Times Square, the enormous displays on micro LEDs. This company, Ventana Design, is selling micro LED digital tiles about a foot square by a half an inch thick. Each tile weighs about 3.5 pounds. On the tile is clusters of these pixels of RGB LEDs. They come in two versions, 360 by 360 per 1 foot tile, or 240 by 240. This means that the LEDs are spaced 33 mils apart. That's 33 1,000th of an inch apart, or 0.8 millimeters, or 50 mils for the lower density. Most use the important point about what they use is something they never advertised at the show. They use a lot of power, because you're powering an LCD has a few LEDs illuminating the screen. Micro LED has thousands of LEDs. The power per panel is 45 watts max, 25 watts on average. The display is offered in two contrasts. One is liquid black, glossy for high contrast, and something called deep matte finishes, similar to a movie theater screen. And it's 4 times brighter than OLEDs, which was the rage just a couple of years ago. So a grid is formed with items they call pucks, you'll see in the video, for mounting alignment, power, and data connections. The big benefit of these tiles is you can use them to configure enormous screen sizes and shapes. You can get aspect ratios of, say, HDTV 16 by 9, aspect ratios of widescreen movies 2:3:5 to 1, or even 2:7 to 1, which was the largest aspect ratio used for Ben-Hur. You just choose the number and alignment of digital tiles, and the image fills the screen, and you really can't see the joints between the tiles. A big advantage of this is you can deliver and then assemble the TV in the viewing room rather than trying to get a large television through a doorway. Or, of course, once you get beyond about 100 inches, you really need to go to a projector, because you just can't move the TV through the doorway unless you use the micro LED tiles. So this industry is hoping to supplant the large single unit TV and the projector market. One of the issues that I alluded to was that these panels use quite a bit of power. If you want to create a 220-inch diagonal TV, you need 144 panels. The maximum power rating is 6,480 watts. By the way, a clothes dryer typical is 5,600 watts. So we're talking more power than running a clothes dryer. And of course, that needs a 240 volt circuit. Now, only a full white screen would ever draw the full maximum power. So the average power draw is more like 3,600 watts, but still that's pretty high. An average, a 15 amp circuit can't deliver more than 1,800 watts. The cost is enormous. It starts at $90,000 and goes up, but the price of micro LEDs will probably plummet. So let's take a look. It's quite a long video, so I'm going to only play part of it.
Hi. Hi there. I'm Jeremy, showing off our Ventana product. This is true micro LED, extremely high dynamic range. You can build any shape and size wall you want to create something over 200 inches, or go small, or go different shapes and sizes.
Is it over 200 diagonal?
This is over 200 diagonal. This is about 220 inches. We're actually feeding this on the HDMI booth with an 8K video signal on a physical 6K size screen. So the processing that lives inside these tiles can actually upscale and downscale. And I'd like to show you the form factor of this as well.
This is so cool. There's a bunch of tiles in there.
Exactly.
Right? And if we can have a look right here against the wall, you're showing them. So what do you see here?
So the large display is made up of many modules of micro LED, and these are put together in a very interesting form
Those
factor.
are
So we
two
have a
tiles
square
next to
tile.
each other. That's
It's about
a
a
single
square
tile.
foot, 300 by 300 millimeters. It's extremely thin, and it goes up on a very simple magnetic grid. So we put a grid on the wall for the tile array. There are no cables, very simple magnetic connections, and it's very easy, even as like almost a DIY TV, to take these on and off the wall and build up any shape and size you like.
So a bunch of magnets here and some pogo pins, or what
Correct.
do you call those?
Yes,
and
exactly.
And then they all connect magically.
They magically connect. We make an auto mesh between all the tiles. They're very simple to put on. Just clicks,
Wow.
that's it.
I could do it.
You can do it yourself. And then the tiles energize, they talk to each other, they know who's to the left, who's to the right, top and bottom.
You can mix them.
And you can mix any shape and size you want.
That's awesome. Nobody does that.
Nobody. This is the only display product like this on the planet.
How do you make sure nobody pulls them off?
Except there are about a dozen companies
That's a good
with
question.
their own version.
For a commercial application,
micro
we do
LED.
have a little safety on the back so that you can do exactly that. So we have a mechanism here that can actually screw in so that the tile can't be removed, like with a safety
Then
wire.
you need access behind, right?
You could do a safety wire, like if you're old enough to remember going to the bank and having to write the deposit slip with the pen, and it has a little chain on it, we can do a safety wire. So you might be able to pull the tile, but it would not come off the wall. But also when you build a large array, there's no way to physically actually grab the edge of the tile like we have on this demo. And so you would need special maintenance tools to take the tile off.
All right. So there it's obvious there's a delimitation because it's two different videos. And I guess, does it have to do with calibration to get rid of any visual, what do you call borders? Or how does that work?
Yeah, so we have an array of the tiles, and so every individual module there's 6 in every single tile. Each module gets individually calibrated for every red, every green, every blue of every single pixel. This metadata is actually stored in memory in the tile, so when they're all connected, they automatically calibrate themselves to know where they are in the array and what colorimetry they're supposed to have. And we're showing here, these will look visually different because we're showing both finish options that we have. So some applications people prefer a matte finish, some applications people prefer a glossy finish. So the glossy we call liquid black. This has the deepest black level, very similar to an OLED TV. And this is fantastic for the best
Matte finish is
dynamic
what you'd
range.
see on a projector
Wonderful for any kind of environment where you need that very deep inky black.
So I'm just standing here.
But you see the glossy finish
And
picks
this
up
is glossy,
any
I can
ambient
see,
lighting.
right? Yes, this is glossy. We felt for a trade show we wanted to stand out a little bit more. So this is something very large with the glossy that it does have some glare because of all of the trade show lighting, but it looks more like an OLED TV than looking like something technical that might be in a conference room. And so we thought this was a very innovative surface finish.
When it's glossy, there's also the risk you might see the separations a little bit more than when it's matte?
Yes, correct.
So when it's matte, you don't see anything?
When it's matte, you don't see those at all. So that's a trade-off that you have to make when you make the choice between the surface finishes.
So when I go here to the matte, I need to be very, very close to see anything, right? At any kind of like distance, it'll be impossible to see, right? Because I'm talking about those huge lights that are up in the roof. And CES always has these huge lights.
Yes, exactly.
And you're fighting with that a little bit.
Exactly. We fight with that a little bit on the trade show floor, but typically in a living room, you wouldn't have those types of lights, so we don't have the same type of glare on the edges.
And you say 8K, you mentioned 8K.
Yes, we can ingest 8K. We can also actually run rasters that are 16K and 32K even. The background of our company, Ventana is the brand name of these micro LED tiles. Our company is called Megapixel, and many of us have been in even the filmmaking industry for 20 years. And so a lot of the tile technology as well as the processing technology that's built into this is actually used for motion picture production. And so we're bringing cinematic technology into the home, and you're getting basically the best possible picture quality that you can in the world.
What do you think people would want to have, glossy or matte at home?
You know,
if somebody has a big enough wall for this, what are they going to choose?
I feel sometimes like that's asking somebody if they'd prefer a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. Everybody has personal choice when it comes to things. I personally would do the liquid black because I love the very, very deep black level. I think it has a surface finish that's unlike anything else. But let's say you're putting something in your home where you're not watching movies. Maybe you want to display artwork down a hallway and you want a square display or a portrait display. For artwork, absolutely you would want the matte version because that would be more reflective in feeling for the light.
If it's a home cinema, you're probably not going to have CES lights in your living room.
Exactly.
If
this is for home cinema, the inky black, amazing HDR that you get with the liquid black is the way to go.
Nice. This is awesome. So this is a great tool for architects.
It is, absolutely. Thanks for pointing that out. So one of the things that we did when we designed the system is we wanted the shape in the tile to actually mimic a building material. So the reason that we chose a square tile and that we made it exactly the thinness that it is because we wanted an architect or an interior decorator to pick it up and think about it as a building material.
Could you pick it up and just show it right here?
Yes, let me grab one for you. So the shape and size of the tile is very much the same that you would have for a marble tile or a ceramic tile. Same thing with the thickness. So this can actually be treated as a building material, and an architect can design this into a space. This can be everything from a 30-foot long kitchen backsplash to an entire wall. You could do a ceiling. You could wrap around columns. You could wrap around a fireplace. Really anything where you can put wallpaper and paint and drywall and stone, you could do a media tile as well.
So one thing I'm afraid to ask, right? But the eventual dream is that these are not too expensive.
Correct. So in today's market with this technology, it is indeed still expensive.
Displays, it's brand new.
Exactly, it's brand new, never been done before.
You need mass production to get the price down.
Exactly. So screens that are fairly large, they'll start in the low six figures and can go even up to $1 million. This particular tile, though, we absolutely will see over time will come down in cost, and this is something that eventually maybe you'll buy at a tile section of Home Depot or at a Best Buy shop and walk out with 10 tiles.
At the Costco.
Exactly.
You just go to the aisle 11, the shelf, and you just get your thing, and you put it directly in your Cybertruck trunk or something, and then you just bring it home. Right. And in terms of square meter or square feet, what would be great is eventually, okay, you cannot match the LCDs maybe, but an OLED or something like that. If you can get that kind of price as a home OLED 65-inch in terms of price per square feet.
That's exactly right, and it absolutely will go there. So in today's market for television application, this is definitely aimed at anything much larger than 100 inches because a TV cannot be produced much larger than that. But absolutely, eventually you'll be able to just build any shape and size TV that you want, and you're not limited by making it 16:9.
So in the interest of time, I'll
this
move on,
is
Alvin.
16 tiles wide by 8 tiles tall, giving us a diagonal of roughly 215.
Move on, because it's after.
So I just got two to wrap up now. These I call the offbeat and unusual, and it'll speak for itself. This company claims to be the first vacuum-powered laundry chute that transports laundry from any room with ports installed to the laundry room.
Hi, this is Graham Roberts from LaundryJet, and specifically LaundryJet Commercial. We're at the CEDIA show in Denver at the moment, and we're here displaying our air-powered transport systems for commercial applications, such as moving towels in a gym or a health club, or in a locker room situation in a factory, also for moving apparel from apparel production sites from one end of the factory to the other. We have machines that can travel, send products, specifically apparel, towels, etc., at 50, 60 miles an hour, thousands and thousands of feet to another processing or sorting area within your business. If you would like any more information on our industrial air transport systems, you can contact us at laundryjet.com, ask for myself, Graham Roberts, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for your interest.
This is basically a redo of the old pneumatic tubes that I vaguely remember when I was very young. They used to be, some businesses would have it to send documents around. I think the post office still uses it to move letters in sorting areas.
Banks.
Someone make a comment?
They were used in banks.
In banks?
They're
to move
still
money?
used at a lot of drive-up ATMs.
Okay.
Departments. It was in a department store, I remember.
Yeah. So the final video is from SEED, letter C, then the word SEED, Entertainment Systems. Their claim to fame is unique way to hide a television when it's not being viewed.
Hi, this is Alex with CC, the Unfolding TV. We're here at CEDIA 2024, presenting the brand new N1. This is our 137-inch indoor folding model. It's a micro LED screen made up of 5 panels. The panels fold together into what we call the sculpture. We've invented a bit of technology we call adaptive gap calibration that adjusts the brightness of the pixels at the seams, which eliminates the seams completely. So it truly looks like one uniform panel. And this is it in action. You can find out more at www.cedia.com or find us on socials or come to the booth at 538.
So thank you for staying for this mini tour of CEDIA. I thought that last product was about the least useful thing I saw at the show, but it was amazing how much money they put into that.
Listen, you don't want to blow your dirty underwear around your house?
Oh, that one too. I meant the folding TV.
I know, but I thought the clothes jet or the laundry jet.
Yeah, that caught my eye right away.
Yeah.
But I love the micro modules. I think
you look around micro LEDs, you'll see they're just growing like weeds now, being used for signage and advertising.
That's fantastic.
And Ken, if I'm not mistaken, like if you watch America's Got Talent, if you notice the floors and the props and the whole back wall is display. And concerts, Imagine Dragons uses it. And as a matter of fact, the Taylor Swift concert was phenomenal. And the effects they did with the floors and the walls, and they projected, or I should say displayed, certain things that it was absolutely incredible to look at. They did a great job with these video walls and floors.
Jerry just posted a note saying that the Sphere, the entertainment venue in Las Vegas, I assume, Jerry, you mean it probably uses micro LEDs. What I've been reading about micro LEDs is they're just turning the corner into high volume production to get the cost down. Because the cost right now, as you heard, is nearly $100,000 to $1 million, depending upon the size. But I think it's just going to take over the OLED market. And who knows, in 5 to 10 years, it may start knocking on the door of the LCD market.
What's interesting too, one of the Star Wars series that came out on Disney, rather than use sets and build sets, they have a video wall.
Oh, yeah. You know, you reminded me, John.
Yeah.
At the Sony booth at the show, they had a mock-up of a production set where they showed a guy, the actors were in a car. The car was supposedly going down the road. The car was stationary. The road behind was not a projected movie. It was a micro LED screen running the set, so it didn't need blue screen. The actors could actually see where they were, and the actors said they could get more into the scene when they knew the finished product than having it in post-production.
Yeah, it's amazing. The Star Wars series that I watched, when it was first time I was hearing about it, but the cameras and the studio equipment uses perspective. So if the actors are moving or doing action, the background is changing. So if they're walking, they're not walking much at all. But of course, in perspective, the actors are moving quickly across the screen, but the background, the mountains, are moving very slowly. So it looks so natural. It's just incredible. Put those panels with processing, cinema processing, and it's just amazing the effects. It's got to be saving them a ton of money.
So how is the ratio of expenditures between actors and technology? Is more money being put into technology?
Well, it's a savings on sets. It's not a savings on actors. It's a saving on sets versus virtual set versus real sets.
Oh, you mean as opposed to hiring artists and painting huge backdrops?
Right.
Yeah, which is, it's done digitally now, that kind of thing. There aren't matte paintings done anymore.
I saw a YouTube video of someone going through the back lots of, it might have been Warner Studios, and they had murals on the side of buildings which were used as backdrops for movies.
Yeah. Yep. And also they save location expenses.
Yes.
You can make any location you want, so you don't need to travel to it. And you can save all these. So if you need to do post-production or catch up, it's all saved and you can call it back up again digitally.
So the backlots included like a New York City scene, which they would, it showed brownstones and shops, and they would dress it for the particular show. You're saying they won't even do that anymore. They'll just do it all electronically.
Depends on the producers and the directors, what they want to do. You know, just like somebody's still using 70mm film, you know, today or whatever. So,
and if there's objects that the actors need to interact with, they still typically need to be real objects or real set pieces. So they'll, even on a virtual set, there'll still be real set pieces within the actor space, like a bar counter or a table or a desk.
And the effects could be projected. For instance, if you're interacting with a monster, the monster's really there in front of you on a wall, and you can just move around and react to that. I think it's a little more natural than a little ball that the camera's focusing on, and it will be built later on.
Right, and that's exactly what the actors said at the Sony booth at CES, that by having in the sort of the corner of their eye, they could see the actual area they were supposedly driving through. They could have a more authentic reaction.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, I guess not only are we going to get super creative musical live singing, but we'll also increase our super background settings.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, I have seen productions of an ensemble dancing in a movie set, many times there's no music. The music is added later, and they're pretending they hear the music and they dance as if they hear it.
Yeah. If you want to see it, go and pull up America's Got Talent and watch some of the acts. It's incredible because you can take what's on the wall and just extend it right down to the floor out into the audience. And
I brought up an example of
oh yeah,
Industrial Light and Magic's virtual set.
The Mandalorian, that's right.
The Mandalorian, yep. And you can see the ceiling. You can see that there's a virtual sky there on the ceiling. And normally the ceiling matches the sides. I think they purposely made the ceiling not match to show off the transition between the circular video wall that encircles the set and the ceiling. But you can see there's lots of set pieces that exist physically. Like the boxes and rigging poles and things are actually things there for the actors to interact with. But everything that's clouds has been rendered virtually.
And that ceiling you can also put on the floor and render an ocean, a walkway, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Trying to find another example.
But that's not micro LED, is it, Chris?
It might be. I'm not actually sure what. ILM Industrial Light and Magic actually has more of these facilities now. They built one initially in California. That was where they did the initial development. But now they have more than one. Here's a good example. Now you can see this woman standing with this little patch of sand and a fake rock that's behind her, to the right of her, or to our right. But you can see the video wall that's behind her is showing out in the wild.
I would guess that's micro LED. It's just
it
so
is
enormous, it'd be tough to project that.
Yeah, it's not projected. It is micro LED.
Yeah, it's a video wall. It's not projection.
And it's got to be coming down in price because it started out on these big budget productions, but again, now you see it on TV, in productions on television. So it's got to be coming down to a reasonable price.
Mm-hmm.
And the examples that I've been showing you have been static, but you just saw, okay, there was a good example. Watch the background. Watch the background appear. Boom. And it can move. It moves in reaction. There's motion tracking on the camera, and every motion that you make with the camera is matched by the backdrop, so that the backdrop matches camera movement, so that the background looks realistic. Because if it stayed absolutely still, it wouldn't have realism. Trying to find another good example.
I think the only thing that they really need to address is power management, because you can't expect everyone putting in a home theater to hire an electrician to wire.
Yeah.
And I think what they need to do is put some power limits on the draw, so that if someone tried to project a total white screen, the system just wouldn't allow it.
Well, I imagine years and years and years ago, all the lights that they had must have taken up a boatload of power.
Oh, I remember as a kid, the few times I went to a TV studio, it was brutal.
You got fried. Yeah. The heat was incredible.
In fact, we had a BAS meeting at Channel 5 in Needham about 20 years ago, when they were just doing the transition from tungsten lighting to, back then it was CFLs. And they told us that they needed a lot of adjustments in the clothing and the makeup of the actors, because these were the early days when they weren't carefully controlling color temperature.
and everything melted and everybody was sweating.
But everything was pretty much tungsten colored, sort of like 2700 Kelvin.
This is what Industrial Light and Magic calls this virtual set, by the way, stagecraft.
Okay, it's after 4:30, way beyond our stop time. Anything else?
I just wanted to, I found you guys were asking about the noise cancellation of the Apple headphones, and I found the answer. There's the frequencies at which it does noise cancellation. As I suspected, there's no noise cancellation happening at 20 hertz. But you can see that as it gets towards, well, this is 30 hertz, 40 hertz, by 40 hertz, it's doing 20 hertz of 20 dB, roughly up to 20 dB of reduction.
Do you have a similar chart for foam earplugs?
No. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of them out there, but I don't have it handy. And you can see that up at the highest frequencies, the noise reduction dissipates above, for example, above 10K. And by 20K, it's only a few dB down, but there's not a lot of energy up there. And most of us can't hear up there anyways.
Yeah, the mid-range easier to deal with, I imagine.
Right.
Sensing
Absolutely.
it, feedback, and putting it back out there. Yeah.
You know, when I was
the most reduction that it does, you can see, is around 35 dB at about 250 hertz, 200 to 250.
Yeah.
Until I was about, say, late 40s, I could hear the noise from a flyback transformer.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It's gone now.
Yeah.
I returned one brand of Hitachi TV that I bought years ago because of the transformer whine, and it was so damn loud. I brought it back, and when they asked me why, and I explained why, they looked at me like,
I think that was 15,600 hertz.
Yeah,
right.
Okay, is that it?
I understand the actual culprit was ceramic capacitors, not the actual transformer. And ceramic capacitors with a DC voltage across them are piezoelectric. Barium titanate being the most common culprit.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Alvin.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.